Once upon a time, in the heart of a mystical forest, deep within an enchanted grove, where sunlight dripped through the leaves like liquid gold, there lived a colony of adorable field mice. These weren't just any mice, mind you. They were a merry band of adventurers, always eager for a good time and a hearty laugh. Their days were spent frolicking in the undergrowth, and their nights were filled with storytelling around their cozy nests. One evening, as the fireflies began their evening dance and the crickets chirped their sleepy tunes, the mice gathered close. It was Mole's turn to share a tale, an exciting story from his adventures above ground. But Mole had a confession to make. He wasn't much of a storyteller. The mice giggled, understanding that Mole was better at digging tunnels than weaving words. Suddenly, a young mouse piped up. "I know a story that will make your whiskers twitch with glee." It was Pip, the smallest of the litter, known for his insatiable curiosity and daring spirit. The other mice cheered, and Pip, puffing out his chest, began his tale. Deep in this very forest, nestled in a hollow log, lives the wisest owl you could ever meet. His name is Archimedes, and he knows the secrets of the stars and the stories held in raindrops. Pip paused for dramatic effect, his eyes shining with excitement. But Archimedes is very busy, so no one dares to bother him except for Ferdinand Fox. Now, Ferdinand isn't the cleverest creature around, but boy, does he have a nose for sniffing out trouble. The mice gasped. They all knew Ferdinand, with his sly grin and penchant for mischief. What could he possibly want with the reclusive Archimedes? Pip continued. Well, Ferdinand had a problem. He couldn't stop sneezing. Every sniffle and sneeze sent his whiskers flying and made his nose itch. It was driving him nuts. That's when he remembered Archimedes' wisdom. So off he went to seek help from the old owl. As Pip spoke, the mice watched intently, their little faces reflecting the flickering firelight. Suddenly, they heard a loud crash, followed by an angry shout. Startled, they looked toward the entrance of their burrow. Could it be Ferdinand? Was he in danger? The next morning, as the sun painted the sky in hues of pink and orange, the mice set out to find Pip. They searched high and low, calling his name, but there was no reply. Just as their hope began to dwindle, they spotted a tiny paw print in the soft earth. It was Pip's print. Relief washed over them. At least he was okay. Following the tracks, they soon came across a clearing where Pip had stopped. In front of him lay a small, intricately woven basket. The mice gathered around it, their hearts pounding. Slowly, Pip lifted the lid, and out popped a beautiful white dove. She blinked her large dark eyes at them, then cooed softly. "I found the smartest mouse who will help me," she said in a melodious voice. "He was kind enough to share his knowledge with me, but now I must be on my way." With a final wave, the dove took flight, disappearing into the endless blue. The mice looked at each other, confused. They had never heard Pip speak of such an endeavor. Had he been on a secret mission without telling them? Before anyone could ask questions, the forest floor rumbled. From behind a nearby tree emerged Ferdinand, his face ashen and his paws shaking. "Oh, dear friends," he exclaimed, his voice cracking. "We must listen to the dove's message. There is no time to lose." The mice were perplexed. What urgent message? Ferdinand, noticing their confusion, quickly explained. "You see, I went to Archimedes for help with my terrible sneezing fits. But instead of giving me a potion or a charm, the great owl gave me a riddle. A riddle about a special flower called the forget-me-not. He told me it can only be found at the Whispering Falls, deep in the enchanted glade." A shiver ran down the mice's spines. The enchanted glade was a place of mystery and magic, rarely visited even by the bravest of creatures. Legend spoke of playful sprites and mischievous fairies that made it their home. But what was Ferdinand doing, venturing into such a dangerous place? Before Ferdinand could answer, a wise old squirrel named Hazel spoke up. "I believe I know the flower he speaks of," she said, her bushy tail twitching. "It grows near the falls, hidden among the moss and stones. But beware, it is guarded by grumpy badgers, fiercely protective of their den." Determined to help Ferdinand, the mice decided to search for the forget-me-not. But who would go with him? Pip volunteered without hesitation. Though small, he was brave and quick-witted, a perfect companion for the perilous journey. Hazel agreed to guide them to the falls, while Mole, despite his fear of the dark and gloomy places, chose to stay by Ferdinand's side. The journey was long and fraught with danger. They had to scamper over fallen logs, brave prickly bushes, and dodge curious beetles. But the friends stuck together, helping each other over every obstacle. When darkness finally began to fall, they arrived at the foot of the Whispering Falls. As the water cascaded down the rocks, it created a soothing melody that seemed to echo the beating of Pip's heart. All around them, fireflies twinkled, adding a magical touch to the enchanting glade. And there in a small patch of light, they saw it, the forget-me-not, with petals as blue as a summer sky and leaves that glistened like emeralds. But guarding it, as Hazel had warned, were two burly badgers. Their gruff voices boomed, "Who dares disturb the peace of our den?" Pip, remembering the dove's words, stepped forward. "I am here to seek knowledge, not to cause trouble. If you would be so kind as to step aside, I would greatly appreciate it." The badgers exchanged glances. They had never heard such a tiny creature speak with such confidence. Intrigued, they allowed Pip to approach the flower, but as he reached out to pluck it, one of the badgers lunged. "Stop right there," he snarled. "Why do you wish to take our flower?" "Because it is said that the forget-me-not has magical healing powers," Pip replied calmly. "And I needed to help my friend, Ferdinand Fox." Touched by Pip's tale of friendship, the badgers' gruff hearts melted. One of them sighed. "Very well, little mouse. You may have our flower, but come back tomorrow and bring us some sweet berries from the sunlit glade. It is the least you can do for letting you pass." Relieved, Pip thanked them and quickly rejoined his friends. Together, they raced back to Ferdinand, eager to put the forget-me-not's healing powers to the test. When Ferdinand saw the flower, his face lit up with gratitude. "You truly are the best friends a fox could ask for," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "Now let's hurry. Archimedes told me that the pollen from the flower must be applied during the first light of dawn for the remedy to work." After a restless night spent in the Whispering Falls, the mice awoke just as the sky began to lighten. Quickly, they collected the pollen and rushed to Ferdinand. As the first rays of sunlight touched his fur, they began the ritual. Ferdinand sneezed once, twice, and then a miracle happened. Instead of another sneeze, a beautiful white dove flew out from his den. "It worked!" Ferdinand cried, his eyes shining with joy. "I'm cured." He turned to his rescuers. "How can I ever repay you?" Pip smiled. "Just remember us when you tell your stories, Ferdinand." And so Ferdinand did. Whenever he sat by the fire, sipping hot cocoa with his family, he never forgot his adventure with the brave mice. He told them tales of their bravery, of their kindness, and how they helped him, not just with his sneezing, but also with something far more important, reminding everyone that even the smallest creature can be the bravest, and that true friendship is the most valuable treasure of all. So if you're ever feeling down or need a friend to lean on, remember the mice from the enchanted burrow, the wise Archimedes, the kind-hearted Ferdinand, and the beautiful white dove. And always keep in mind, no matter how big or small, We all have the capacity for great courage and kindness. As the forest creatures snuggled closer to the fire, listening to Ferdinand's tale, they couldn't help but feel a sense of warmth and belonging. For in that enchanted forest, deep within the heart of the whispering woods, there was a place for everyone and a story waiting to be told. And that, dear viewers, brings us to the end of our enchanting adventure today. We hope you enjoyed this magical journey alongside our beloved forest animals. Remember, no matter how big or small, we all have a story to tell and a place where we belong. Now, before we part ways, we'd love to hear your thoughts on today's heartwarming tale. Which character was your favorite, and what lesson did you learn from their adventure? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to hit that like button for more enchanting stories. Until next time, keep believing in the magic all around you and the dreams that light up your heart. Sweet dreams, everyone.